Let me try and see if there's a middle ground. Madan Sabnavis, do you see a middle ground between these two extreme positions that I've just heard? Professor Arun Kumar warning about various risks that lie ahead in the next 12 months. Rajiv Kumar suggesting that actually we could be in a sweet spot.
Okay, see, the way I look at it is that when we look at a number of 6 to 6.8%, numerically it is impressive, but given the fact that the rest of the world is going into a slowdown. Second, it's also true what the economic survey says that whatever lost ground was there has been recouped. But the reality is that even before the pandemic struck, I think we had a number of problems. We had low economic growth, I think it was less than 4%. We also had problems in terms of employment generation. We had problems of consumption not increasing. So therefore, we saw the consumer goods industries continuously underperforming. And we also saw the investment rate in the economy being very stagnant. So what we see today is that while we have a growth rate of say 6.5%, which is definitely good, we have an investment number, gross fixed capital formation rate, which is in the region of 27 to 28%. If I compare that with what it was at the best of times, it was in the region of 33 to 34%. So definitely we are far off from our potential, what we had when growth was 8 to 9%. Now it's quite interesting that today we're talking in terms of a medium-term normal growth rate of 7 to 8%, when there was a time when we spoke of 8 to 9%. So definitely our expectations have come down. So the way I look at it is it's a long journey for us, and it cannot be achieved in a couple of years' time. It's going to be a very slow process as we keep growing. And the important thing is job creation, because the moment you create jobs, you create income, you create spending, you create investment, it becomes self-fulfilling.
You know, we are discussing this, Pranjal Bhandari, on a day before the union budget and heading up to an election year, a general election year in 23-24. There is the challenge of fiscal consolidation on the one side. There will be pressure on the other hand to give SOPs to various groups. There is a concern over how do you stimulate investment, how do you stimulate demand on one side, and on the other hand, a slowing global growth that clearly is there. Given these conflicting sort of challenges in a way, and I'll put up some of those numbers there in a moment, how do you see the government navigating what appears to be a difficult year that lies ahead?
Yeah, I think the best thing the government can do tomorrow is be boring. Basically play it safe, play it like Rahul Dravid, not be in a big hurry, to score a lot. And when I say this, I mean things like, they've promised a lot in the past. They've done some good things in the last few years. They've promised that they'll bring down the fiscal deficit year after year till it goes into sustainable levels. They've promised a strong capex push. They've promised some extra capex money to the states. They have tried to do some improvements in our tax regime. Just continuing with all of these, trying not to sort of announce anything big, announce a major program just because it's a pre-election year. Focus on bringing down the fiscal deficit. I think that's going to be, the best budget we can see at this point. For it being a pre-election year, I think, there is a sort of a silver lining out there. Last couple of years, I think, have been bad for rural India and also for the informal sector, as Dr. Arun Kumar also pointed out. But I think going ahead, both of them could see some improvements, as in we are seeing real agricultural wages rising, so rural demand could be a bit better in the next couple of months. The informal sector has faced back-to-back shocks, the lockdown, then the huge commodity price shock last year. If we don't see any new shock this year, perhaps the informal sector will come back. And if these things happen, then the pressure to do any pre-election, spending on SOPs, I think that pressure could go away. So my sense is, be boring, focus on macro stability, try to bring down the fiscal deficit over time, because that is going to create a kind of confidence in the economy so that when the global cycle turns, India's growth can take off.